A warm greetings to one another. In this session, let's learn about looping statements and control structure. Sometimes there may be a need to perform same operation more than once. So in that case, we need to execute a same block of statements again and again. Where comes the looping statements? So here we have a flowchart for iteration statements. So we have the code point starting here and we have a condition here. So if the condition is true, we can execute a set of statements. And again, we check for the condition. If it is true, the same set of block of statements will be executed again and again until the condition is true. If condition is false, it gets terminated from the loop and moves to the next part of the program. So there are three types of iteration statements, namely for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Let's learn about for loop statement. It is also called as entry control loop. So this loop allows you to repeat a set of instructions for a specific number of iterations. Now let's have the flowchart for loop statement. So code starts here. We have initialization for loop variable. Then we have the condition for the for loop variable. If condition is true, we have to execute the code block inside the for loop, and then we have to perform either increment or decrement operation for the loop variable. Then again, we have to check the condition, and if condition is true, the same has to be followed. If condition is false, we have to terminate from the for loop. Next, we can have the syntax for loop. So for is a keyword followed by open parenthesis with initialization of loop variable ended with semicolon. Then condition for the for loop variable ended with semicolon. Then we have increment or decrement operator for the loop variable, followed by open curly parenthesis. Then we have set of statements for loop execution. Then we ended the for loop with the closed curly parenthesis. Let's have an example program for loop. So in this main function, we have declared the variable n of integer data type n and assigned with value 3. Next comes for loop. Here we have three parts, namely initialization, condition, and increment or decrement operation. So in for loop, we have declared the variable I of integer data type and initialized with the value 1. Next, we have a condition, that is I should be less than or equal to n. Next, we have increment operator for the variable I, that is I plus plus, which represents I is equal to I plus 1. We are incrementing I by 1. Next, in for loop statement, we have displayed the value of the variable I to the user. Next comes return 0 statement and program gets terminated here. Now let's see how the program gets executed. We know that the value of the variable n is equal to 3. And in for loop, we have declared the variable I and initialized with the value 1. The condition is I should be less than or equal to n. So we know the value of the variable I is 1 and the value of the variable n is 3. So 1 is less than or equal to 3. So the condition is true. So we can display the value of the variable I to the user. Now the value of the variable I is 1 and 1 is displayed to the user. Next, we have to update the value of the variable I. So now the value of the variable I becomes 2. We can check the condition here. The condition is 2 less than or equal to 3. So condition is true. So we can display the value of the variable I to the user. So now 2 is being displayed to the user. Next, we have to update the value of the variable I. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Next, we have to check the condition for the variable I. So 3 is less than or equal to n. So the condition is true. Since 3 is equal to 3, we have to execute the cout statement. So 3 is printed to the user. Next, we have to update the value for the variable I. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So 4 is not less than or equal to 3. So what happens here? The loop gets terminated and it comes to the next statement, return 0. So next, the program gets terminated here. So the output is 1, 2, and 3, which is displayed to the user as shown in the output. Next, let's learn about while loop statement. It is an entry controlled loop and it is best to use if you are not sure about the exact number of iterations. Since it is entry control loop, if condition is true, the loop statements gets executed else it is not executed. Now let's have the flowchart for while loop statement. Here the code starts and we perform initialization of loop variable. Then we have the condition for while loop, which is the entry control loop. If condition is true, we'll be executing the while code block. Then we have increment or decrement operation for the loop variable. After that, we again check the condition. If condition is true, the same is performed. Else, if condition is false, we terminate the loop and comes out of the loop. And the program gets terminated here. Let's have the syntax for while loop. So first we have initialization for loop variable. Then we have while keyword followed by the condition. The while block is opened with open curly parenthesis followed by the while loop statements. Then we have increment or decrement operator for the loop variables. Then the while loop is ended with closed curly parenthesis. Now let's have an example program for while loop statement. So in this main function, we can see that variable I is declared as integer data type and assigned with value 1. So next we have while loop statement. So in while we have the condition I should be less than 4. The value of the variable I is 1 and it is less than 4. So using cout statement, we have displayed the value of the variable I to the user. The value of I is 1, which is displayed to the user as shown in the output. Next, we are incrementing the value of I by 1. So 1 plus 1, it is 2. Again, we are coming for the while condition. So 2 is less than 4. So again, we can display the value of the variable I to the user using cout statement. Now, the value of the variable I is 2, which is displayed to the user as shown in the output. So now we are incrementing the value for the variable I. Now 2 plus 1 is 3. So we are checking the condition here. 3 is less than 4. It is true. Again, we are displaying the value of the variable I to the user. The value is 3, which is displayed to the user as shown in the output. Now we are incrementing the value of the variable I as 4. So 4 is less than 4. It's false since 4 is equal to 4. Now we are not going to execute the while statement part. Next, we are going to the next statement that is return 0. So now the program gets terminated. So the output of the program is 1, 2, 3 as shown in the output here. Now let's learn about do while loop statement. This loop will execute the code block once before checking if the condition is true. Then it will be repeating the loop as long as the condition is true. It is also called as exit control statement. Now let's check out the flowchart for do while loop statement. So the code starts here and we have initialization of the loop variable here. Do while statement allows the user to execute the code once. So after the do statement, we have the code block followed by increment or decrement operator for the loop variable. At the end, it checks the while condition. Here, if condition is true, the do statement code block is executed again and again. If while condition is false, then the loop gets terminated here. Next, let's see the syntax for do while loop statement. First, we have initialization of loop variable. Then we have do statement followed by open curly parenthesis. Then we have do while loop statements followed by increment decrement of loop variables. And we have closed the curly parenthesis followed by while condition. Now let's have an example program for do while loop statement. So in this main function, we have declared the variable I of integer data type and assigned with value 1. Do while statement allows the user to execute the code once. So using cout statement, we have displayed the value of the variable I to the user as shown in the output, that is 1 is displayed to the user. Next, we are incrementing the value of the variable I, that is 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Next, we have a while condition check. So here 2 is less than or equal to 3. So the condition is true. Next, using cout statement, the value of the variable I is displayed to the user as shown in the output. That is true is being displayed here. Next, we are incrementing the value of the variable I. 2 plus 1 is 3. So we have a while condition here. That is 3 is less than or equal to 3. The condition is true since 3 is equal to 3. We are executing the statement cout to display the value of the variable I to the user. The value of I is 3 is displayed to the user as shown in the output. Next, we are incrementing the variable I by 1, that is 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. Next, we have while condition, that is 4 is less than is equal to 3 is false. So the loop gets terminated here. Next, we have return 0 statement and the program gets terminated here. Thank you all.